Hi guys, Daniel here from the Renovation Brothers, and welcome to our weekly podcast. Today I am honored to host the one and only, my partner in crime, my brother, Michael Lungu.
Hello, I'm Michael. Thank you for having me.
I wanted to have, not often, first of all, a lot of people don't know how busy we are, and with that in mind, I don't get to, even though you are my brother, you are my partner, we don't get to have this type of conversation, a face-to-face conversation to a little bit offload, a little bit confess, a little bit to share what, the behind the scene, the things that we don't often get to tell each other. And I thought, what can be of a better platform to do this? Because one thing to be in business with your family, it's even more to be in business with your brother, and even more to run a business that is high stress, high level, a lot of, on the line, a lot of stakes, a lot of money that clients are investing. And I thought, why not to do it with my blood brother? And for those of you who don't know, this is not just anybody. This is literally my blood brother, same mom, same dad. So all the answers that you get. And
not by choice, but that's how life happened.
And even though we don't look alike, we are indeed from the same mom, same dad. So a lot of those answers that you're gonna hear today, they are raw, uncut, right?
Unscripted. I have no idea what I'm walking into, to be honest.
I wanted to do this episode of kind of like shoot off the cuff, shoot from the hip. And let's just kick off the podcast with, I think, the most fundamental question that everyone might be wondering is, how is it to be in business with your brother?
Wow, I think that's a $1 million question. A little bit of a background story about us is that we have been together. And besides us, we have another 3 siblings. We have another little brother and 2 little sisters. But out of all 5 of us, you and I have been the closest since I was born, I would say.
Thinking thin.
So we have always been into each other's life for as much as we could. And then how it's like to run a business together. I say it's the best thing that you can ask for, but at the same time, the price that you're paying is very heavy. It's worth the reward, definitely, but you are paying a huge price. You have no intimacy, you have no privacy, you have no free time. And unlike anyone else, like mom always says, I cannot divorce you. So even if I want to, I have nowhere to run. Even if hypothetically speaking tomorrow one of us walks away, I will still see you at dinner.
Still see each other on a holiday.
So that's something that we have to remember. We always see each other at dinner, and we have dinner a lot.
Yeah. One of the, I'm sure there will be a lot of viewers who are in some shape or form in business with their family. Share a little bit more in detail. What do you feel some of the obstacles? I know that we mentioned the privacy and the fact that we are in each other's business, but a lot of people think about the good side only when thinking about business in your family. Somebody you can trust, somebody that you can, count on, but there's a lot of ugly to that as well. And, for those of you who view this, we are not different. We fight a lot. We get into many disagreements, but it's important that I think that the viewers to hear really from you, what do you feel like is the dark side that not a lot of people get to view as part of being business with your family?
I think the one thing that you and I lost as soon as we decided that we're going to be working together is that line that separates between business and pleasure. We don't have that line anymore. And we even find mom or dad or the rest of our siblings kind of point out to us over dinner, stop talking about work. Because we basically bring work home. Each of us is kind of like a closeted workaholic, and the fact that we work together makes it even more of what it already is. So, and I think that's kind of like, it's a good and bad. Sometimes it can be very, very bad. Sometimes it can be very good. we don't have a clear separation between work and personal life. And we talk about work very professionally, and we address each other very professionally. And sometimes I forget that you're my brother. You were used to work for mom. I used to work for mom, and our mom never allowed us to refer to her as mom during business hours. You cannot be late, you cannot be on your phone, you're expected what any other worker would be expected from. And the fact that that's kind of how we were raised, I used to forget that my mom is my mom from 9 to 5. And to have that ability to walk home and have that switch to say mom was something that is very, very hard. So sometimes I really forget that you are my brother. And sometimes I don't. But
that's the hard part, is because when off hours, like you said, we carry the work with us. And let's say on bad days, when shit hit the fans and you pissed or something didn't go wrong, construction is just so, for those that are wanting to enter the construction world and seeing this, you need to understand that you need to be borderline masochist. You need to like and enjoy pain because you endure it on a daily basis. Because whenever you think everything can go right, there's always something that will go wrong. Am I right?
Yes.
And with that in mind, it is so easy to have a trigger that just let you off. And the easiest part to go off, and you think about like a soundboard or somebody, or like a punching bag, that's even better. You think about your sibling in a sense, because again, you cannot divorce him, so you offload all of that anger, and that's maintaining a healthy relationship is extremely hard. So I do want to, obviously use this platform to also tell you, you have been amazing as a partner to always endure this, but I do know that it's very, very difficult.
Yeah, I have to say also, since kind of like you said, the one thing that I do acknowledge about myself the more I grow up is I understand how my personality works and how I am as a person. I know I am a very, very dramatic, extreme perfectionist, and I express myself in a very, very theatrical, vocal, yelling and screaming. And it's nice to know that I have a partner who balances me out personality-wise. Meaning the smallest thing that can go wrong will upset me so much that I will be calling Daniel within the next 2 minutes, yelling my lungs out, but he will answer, okay, give me 2 minutes and I will call you back. And somehow fixes it. So it's good that I have someone that can balance that relationship.
And I think that's so important, is to have somebody who it can be basically your cornerstone, your rock, your foundation. And it goes both ways, because, and I guess that's a good pivot point for me so you can share also with the viewers. In terms of personalities, we're very different, but we
absolutely
also bring to the table, in the world of construction, a very unique set of skills, which I think is our also secret sauce.
Yes.
So
definitely.
what do you think make DM Renovation Brothers? What do you think makes us? And for those of you who don't know, DM Renovation Brothers stands for Daniel Michael. D and the M is right here. And we basically build it from the ground up, everything. Yes, you don't see as much Michael, but that's why I even had to drag him to this podcast without even telling him what is gonna be filmed, in order so you can see the raw and authentic answers, which I'm so happy about. But each and one of us is a very unique personality, and what we bring to the table, in my opinion, is uncanny and uncomparable to any other construction company out there, and I mean it. Mm-hmm. So I want you to tell because I never get to hear the perspective that you carry about what each is our responsibility, what makes us unique. So what do you feel like we bring to the table?
Wow. To kind of answer that question, it's bonus for me to explain to the people at home who are watching, who are listening, kind of how it all works. Okay. So I don't know if you knew this or not, we are not being fed business. We have to go and hunt for it, meaning we have to go and sell ourselves. We have a lot of people who are very much eager and interested in meeting us and seeing, getting our input about their desired project. But by the end of the day, we do have to sell the project because like they are interviewing us, most likely they will be interviewing others. Same like it's in real estate, lawyer, whatever it is that someone chooses to hire, he goes and he shops around. So we don't have a guaranteed business. Nobody comes to us with a signed contract. We have to go and we have to kind of sell ourselves. And it's funny that you and I always joke and we say that the best leads that you and I had in general as a company, were the leads that you and I went together.
100%.
Now, given the fact that we are very busy, we are super busy. Daniel you have your own projects, I have my own projects. Your projects are all the way in LA County in Pasadena. My projects are in Orange County, in Newport Beach, Laguna Beach. So we barely even see each other. Sometimes we can go a week without seeing each other. But every time there is a lead, now it's becoming a little bit more complicated for us to go together. But our secret sauce, in my opinion, which goes hand to hand to our most successful leads, were the leads that we go together. And it goes way deep into our personality. How you are as a person and how you sell yourself and what is unique about you that clients fall in love with, and at the same time something about me.
So I want each of us to say about the other person, because I know what makes clients fall in love with you. I hands down can itemize a whole list of saying, this is Michael. And this is why you should work with him. But I want to hear from you, what do you feel like make clients want to work with us based on my personality and your personality?
I think when it comes to your personality, just in general, you give a sense of not just confidence, but protection. Same like I grew up under your, kind of like under your wing, and you were always very protective. Every person who gets to meet you, every prospective client who gets to meet you, not only gets a contractor, but you can sense in your personality that you give that comfort. You give that sense of, I know what I'm doing, I have vast knowledge, and this is kind of also how you express yourself. Ever since you and I decided to enter the world of construction, you cared about how everything works to the nail, to the screw, to the size of the stud. You care about the knowledge. When I cared more about, I feel, but you will say, more about how it looks at the end.
Yeah.
I always say I don't really care about what goes inside the wall, but I do care about the tile.
Yeah.
But you really cared to put the time and the effort into educating yourself, kind of like a PhD in construction, and it shows. Every time I hear you talk to clients, sometimes half of the things you say, I'm like, I have no idea. But when it comes to countertops or cabinets or tile, I'm the one who would be louder. So I love to hear how clients, how their body language changes the moment you start talking about the project, because you can see that you're not just someone who, just like a Joe with the truck. You really understand what you're doing. So as if I were to be a prospective client and you were to walk into my house, I think I would already know that construction is not all pink and roses. I will have surprises, but I rather have surprises with someone like you that will be able to face them and find a solution the fastest and the best solution and execute it the smartest than someone that, God forbid, we have a surprise, might not know. If you think about it, it's funny because only yesterday I was thinking about it. How one doctor in the same field is different from another doctor? Why is this doctor so expensive and everybody goes to him? They study the same in school, but somehow this doctor took the extra initiative to educate him, to read more books, to do more research, that if something goes wrong with the patient, he knows exactly how to bypass it. If a client come, if a patient come, or in our scenario, a prospective client comes with something that is unfamiliar, unconventional, way far from the ordinary, I feel like it's someone like you with your knowledge, your experience, your expertise, and you're eager to fully educate yourself about everything that you do. That is the type of contractor that I would want to have inside my house, which is kind of like,
I think this is the nicest
temple.
I think this is the nicest thing I've ever heard from my brother.
Don't get used to it.
So the flip side of the coin, the yin to the yang, I think when thinking about construction, you need to admit to yourself this is at least my philosophy. You have to admit what are your shortcomings. Yes, I soak information like
a sponge.
If somebody saw Limitless, I absorb information like that. I love soak as much as I can in, because for me, knowledge means I can understand. And if I understand that I confident about what I talk, because I don't want to just talk jack shit.
And we see those a lot. We hear about them a lot. We come for the rescue for clients after they have been, after they met them. So we see it firsthand.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of rescue missions. But with that in mind, in order to be successful, your knowledge can only take you so much. And then comes the creativeness. And for me, Michael is the modern Salvador Dali in the world of construction. And for those of you who don't understand the reference, Salvador Dali in the time of when his era of painting was the most unconventional painter and was perceived as a madman. And when I come to Michael, he's able to take a space. When I look at space, I look at very like black and white. In a sense, you want a kitchen, I can give you a kitchen, but it will more or less stay within the parameters of what you telling me that you want, and I can tell you, is it possible or not? Michael, however, walks into a space and he imagines, like Willy Wonka in a Wonderland, he can imagine a world of possibilities where now something that I didn't even perceive as possible becoming possible. He has the ability to view a picture and the colors and the combination and what goes where into the T. So that is for me like a roadmap. If we have to break down our responsibility, I always say Michael is the creative. I'm the executionary. So I can take his vision and then execute that vision. But the ability to not, I don't want to say sell, but the ability to deliver a vision, I've yet to see anybody who is able to take a raw space, and sometimes we come to places that are looking like a tornado went through them. Yeah. And then Michael says, yes, we can put this here, and all of a sudden this element of pictures fall together, which makes everyone just like say yes before even like yes to the dress, kind of like yes to the project before we even get started. Now, with that in mind, Michael has also the ability to have the patience. You know, some of you would love to go. It's like some people love shopping and some people hate shopping. I will be on the category of hate shopping.
I would be in the category of love shopping.
Michael will be in the category of he will take the time to go to the store and put these pieces of puzzle of material between the faucets, the tile, the flooring, the paint, and all of a sudden there is a collage of how things look together. So before we even got started, now you have a vision, and that is so important in my mind to to make us, a project successful, which kind of leads me to the next point is we each has a very vastly different style, like we discussed earlier. What would you say is your style when running project? Because for me, I'm like black and white. I look at the blueprints, I look at the details, I look at what we wrote with the client that we want, but your execution is completely different than mine.
Well, lately, I want to say, since kind of happened that my project come after you just finished a project in that area. So lately, my style is kind of see where Daniel failed and make it better. For example, I will share the story just as an example. Daniel just finished a project in the city of Santa Monica, the city of Santa Monica is known to be a very, very difficult city to work with when it comes to scheduling inspections. If let's say today we are December 1st and you're gonna call and schedule inspection, the soonest available date will be January 1st. And when I saw that this kind of was for you a big hiccup, an ongoing hiccup, and an ongoing struggle, I should say, I scheduled inspection before even starting the project. And that kind of gave me I learned of your project,
Mistakes.
Yeah, of your mistakes, how to implement it in my projects and make them better. But besides that, I think it mainly comes to two things: how we communicate with the client and how we communicate with the workers. I think I put a lot of emphasis on the experience of the remodel. Like you said, take the client shopping and build a certain relationship with her where sometimes it's good, sometimes maybe I do it too much, where the lines of a contractor client sometimes get blurry, but I want every one of my clients to enjoy the remodel. When you approach a remodel, everybody has this persona, this perception that it's gonna be a headache. It's gonna be dusty and noisy, and strangers walking in and out of my house, my most private area, which is my house, my bathroom, my kitchen, whatever it is. I want to see always how I can make that experience joyful for them. Thinking that if I do succeed in that, the next time they have something, I will be the first one to pop into their head. And when it comes to my relationship with workers, I will admit I expect no less than 100% perfection, because that's truly what I believe our clients deserve. And this is how we differ ourselves from most of companies, especially in Southern California. But I would love to work with people who have proven me that they will not only care about what they do, but they will also take into consideration everything else. And I've seen firsthand workers who, we don't subcontract the work, but let's say if we have a plumber walking into a bathroom, I need him to take into consideration that we just finished an electrical and don't damage anything that is related to someone else. Just because you don't do it doesn't mean it's not important. And if everyone on my team that I create keeps that in their mind and keeps the fact that to treat the client's house as if it's their own, it gives me the peace of mind that the project will be successful.
So I want, obviously, you're 100% correct when you're saying we go above and beyond, and the lines that we create with our clients very, very often blurry. And I think it's important to reiterate that when we say that we want to deliver the highest quality, and some people think that, we might say this right now for the podcast or for the cameras, but how available are we for our clients?
Too much.
Do you feel that, and I guess that's the next question, do you feel like because the way we are, do we feel like a lot of the time the lines that we create become blurry and abused.
Yes, into two ways. We also get them very blurry, because the one thing that sometimes you and I forget is that by the end of the day, and it should not come as a lie, is that by the end of the day, this is a profitable business. But I find it, and maybe it is something that we should be proud of. And like you said, I'm not saying it now because of a podcast or anything like that, but sometimes we take actions that will cost us more, knowing that it will benefit the client more. Sometimes we will choose to redo something from the start, like you redid that 3 stories house, Taco. You can go on our Instagram page. Happened, I think, almost a year ago. You ended up repainting the client's house,
Right.
all over.
Even though it wasn't our fault.
It wasn't our fault. It was the client's decision, and it was the consequences of the client's decision. But you were not okay with leaving a product on this level of quality, and you ended up repainting the house.
At no cost.
At no cost to the client. But the fact that you don't want to charge the client doesn't mean that our workers are not going to charge us.
Correct.
None of our workers will do anything for free, and they shouldn't, just because of our pretty eyes or the fact that we want to make a client happy. You want to make the client happy? Well,
we have certain quality that we want to stand behind, and we do pay, unfortunately, a lot of, a big price for that, because we do make a promise, and we tend to want to stick by our promise of delivering exceptional, service and product. But a lot of the times that comes at a cost, and a cost of relationship, and a cost of personal time, the fact that the lines are being blurred by the clients. And I do want to take a little bit of a pivot, because some of our clients also treat us in a way that is very different because of our background, and also because of our, unfortunately, sexual orientation. And for those of you who don't know, I'm sure that I can, share it with the crowd. You're a proud gay man. And I want to ask you, do you feel that in your personal experience, do you feel like it's that been a challenge, an obstacle? Did you find that in the world of construction, did people perceive you differently because of that?
so it's funny that you asked that question, and kind of to again go as one step backwards. You and I, we both entered that field of construction before we opened our company. We used to work for another company, actually 2, prior deciding when COVID hit. Prior COVID, we used to work for 2 other companies. And walking into this field, which is a very masculine, manly field, I had this perception, or should I say a misperception, about this industry, that if I were to show my gayness or my feminine side or my true colorful personality, I will not get business. You would trust a man more than you would trust a feminine guy, a gay guy, a woman. But it is through time and experience and failed leads of me not being able to sign clients while trying to hide my sexuality. So me going to lead and trying to sell and bring a contract while trying to hide my sexuality was the mistake that I did, because if I do that, I'm not different than anyone else. And when it comes to sales, you will go with someone who is different, who is unique. And it's only after me deciding that not only that I'm not gonna try and hide it, I'm just gonna be who I am. Because eventually, if I were to succeed in signing the client, we're gonna start the project, and eventually you will see who I am. So why hide it from the first place? And then I noticed that the feedback that I got is way different than what I thought. So I said, oh, okay. Then why won't I use my personality as my selling tool? You by the end of the day, you hire me. I'm selling myself. So once I started implementing it in the leads that I would go to, my success rate went up and up and up. I love to be brutally honest. I love to have a very good connection. And I always say to everyone, every prospective client that I meet, I always say that sentence. I can give you that remodel for $0. But if you don't trust me, would you go with me? And they always say the same thing. No. So it's not the price. It's the relationship and the connection that we build today. That's our goal for today's meeting. That's the lead. That's what we do today. We are going on a first date. And if the first date is successful, then we go on a second date. But I must make sure that on the first date, I am true to myself. Also that I will enjoy what I do, or else I will develop a certain resentment to work. And I think what you and I we always joke about it, but when we are proud about it, is that we are obsessed with work.
Right.
As hard as it is, we are obsessed with it. We love it. We can never do it enough.
So I do want to, it's great you just mentioned that our obsession can turn very quickly, and it's a fine line of walking between obsession and burnout. And I think we both experience both.
I think you are approaching the other side. And if it's okay if I will add to that. Also another thing that Daniel and I are different from is that I love to take vacations. For me, it's a crucial part in my work life. If I don't know how to balance work life with having some time off and not working, then eventually I will burn out. And I see that you are on a constant go, you're hitting the gas pedal nonstop, but I keep telling you, you have to take some time off. Or else, let's say, I know I'm single now, but I always say, if I were to be in a relationship and I cannot miss you, if I see you too much, I'm gonna start hating you. I need to miss you in order to love you. That's for me, and I feel like we are always busy. There is no right time to take off. Maybe the holiday season, but that's kind of an excuse.
You know, it's so true, because every time, and again, like you said, so I guess a little bit about me, I'm married, 2 kids, business,
2 dogs,
and your typical, like, quote unquote, American dream: have a house,
nanny,
have a nanny, so helps a lot. But you constantly thinking that, okay, when this happens, I'll take the vacation. And then you reach that, and then another job comes in, another opportunity comes in. And a part of being, again, maybe it's being older, maybe being, it's kind of like, again, like you said, carrying under the wing. I always have this inherited fear, underlying fear that sometimes even keep me up at night, that I'm just, okay, December is notorious to being quote unquote slow time of the year. It's the holiday season. Not too many people want to, do major stuff. We are super busy, but we are thankful that we are carrying the business from the summer by having large jobs and a lot of things that are still moving.
Nobody wants a demolished kitchen on Christmas Day.
Exactly. But there's always this little voice in your head, and it just like tells you, get up, get shit done, because you don't know what tomorrow holds. And that voice, it's makes this constant chase, this illusion. It's something that you will never reach. And that's something that I admit, and I'm sure there will be other professionals in our fields who watch that, our non-related people who have their own businesses, other people who are in business with each other. And I'll admit, I don't know the balance. It's like an AA meeting, but I am a true full-on, admittedly, workaholic because I have this constant fear of, okay, I have 2 young kids, I have a wife, I have, my siblings, my family. I want to make sure that everyone is taken care of. And for me, it's just so important to get that aspect going, which is why it is very, very easy to get burned. And I do agree with you. This is the end of the year. And when we used to work for the other companies, that was my favorite time because I knew
we will take off.
It's going to be slower. We can travel, we can do stuff. And I actually remember having time with the family, sometimes weeks, where we can leverage. And that's the good part, is that you are an independent contractor, even though when you work for somebody else. So you are free to do whatever you want. So that leads me to the next question. When you walk on a fine line of being overworked, and on the flip side of that coin is also a lot of success. We're not denying it. We are in business to make money, and we are in business to make other people happy, and we are a business of accomplishing the vision. There's a reason why our slogan is "You dream it, we build it," because we do want to take that vision into reality. But as I mentioned, it's very easy to get burned. So I want to really ask you, because that's something that I never asked you. What motivates you? What makes you, even on the toughest of days, to wake up in the morning and say, okay, we got it. We need to keep moving?
I think what motivates me to get up is not so much as how much money I have in the bank account. Is the fact that I managed to prove myself things that I promised myself that I want to achieve, and I achieve. It's not a certain figure of how much I can have in the checking account. But growing up, I had a lot of incidents throughout life that I couldn't even afford the very basic. Coming here, the first 6 months of living in the US, I was sleeping on your couch. I didn't even have enough money to pay for an Uber to go to work, or even afford the bus. So a lot of times I walked from work to your house. And just to give you a general idea, that was an 8-hour walk. I finished at 12 p.m. I finished my shift as a waiter, and I walked home, arriving to your house at 8, not having enough money, not only for a bus, but also to buy water, a bottle of water. And you walk for 8 hours, you do want to stop at some point and you want to drink water. And I'm not talking about materialistic, luxurious things. It's just that I know what it feels like to not have. And that is, I think, our biggest blessing as a family, is that we were not born rich. Even our mom, who immigrated to Israel, was not born rich. She is a self-made businesswoman. So she knows the value of the dollar. She knows the value of money. She knows what it's like to have and what it's like not to have. So we both we love the movie The Wolf of Wall Street. And there is this famous scene where he says, I've been a poor man and I've been a rich man, and I choose rich every day. But for me, rich is not money. For me, rich is freedom. It's freedom that I can do whatever I want to do without having the need to double check myself. And with that fact, with how mom raised us, where we both were not materialistic. We don't care about expensive stuff or expensive shoes or bags or clothes. We do care about nice memories that we can create together, nice trips that we can do as a family. And that's what motivates me. The fact that if I want something, I am working so hard that I know I deserve it.
Yeah.
And it also goes hand to hand with something that you and I also share, is we both suffer from buyer's remorse. It's the lack of ability to spoil ourselves, to believe that we actually are deserving of something nice. And when we say nice, again, we're not talking about a Mercedes, a G-Wagon, or a Louis Vuitton bag. We're talking just about a new shirt, a nice trip. I don't know, a nice meal at a restaurant, at the steakhouse that costs more than $30 a meal. Something as nice as this one, even then we have that, maybe we can do it without it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a must. But then why do we hustle so much?
There was a perfect scene that describes it that I watched accidentally on YouTube, where Eminem, in the peak of his career, walked into a watch store and he saw a Rolex, and he was with his manager, and he asked him, at the peak of his career, the guy solding I don't know how many millions of albums and got the best rapper, and he asked his manager, and can I afford it? And that is the same mentality that we carry till this day. And I call it humility, in a sense that no matter how successful we get, we'll never forget the importance of remembering where you are from. Mm-hmm. And that in a moment's notice, everything can be taken away, and we can go back to that 2-bedroom apartment that we grew up in.
On a bunk bed.
Which I tell my wife till this day that I want to put 2 of my kids in the same room on a goddamn bunk beds, because we had some of the best memories growing up with that bunk bed. But
I actually believe in it.
Yeah.
Growing up in 2 siblings in one room and sharing a bunk bed does something to how you will be as a grown up. Ellen DeGeneres also said, I think everybody should waiter tables at some point of his life, because the things you learn from waitering tables, and thank God I was forced to do it when I just got to the US, is you learn so much. You have no idea what blessings we have in everything that we get. That bunk bed have taught us to that a minimum can also be enough.
Yeah.
If you choose to. You can get more, but learn to appreciate also the very basic, how we share a common space, how we treat each other. And I think that's why we are so close, is because if you think about it, you and I, out of all the 5 siblings, we're the only one who share the bunk bed. Later on, everybody got their own room because mom upgraded to this huge house, and now everybody has demands, and Lorraine cannot sleep with this temperature, and this cannot sleep with this light, and everybody has their own demands. But you and I will sleep on the sidewalk on a blow-up mattress if needed.
That is 100% correct. So it is December, and usually December, in my opinion, is what, at least for me, it's the time to count your blessings. It's the time, from Thanksgiving to the end of the year. It's also time for reflection. So I want to ask you, what are some, how sometimes on Shabbat dinner, we say, what are your highlights? What is your low, kind of of the week? I want to almost conclude the year. It's been a tough year, a roller coaster of a year. We made some record-breaking projects, things that behind closed doors, even you and I, admittedly, we said, are we even ready for that type of project, that type of size? And when we're talking about size, we're talking about humongous projects on a specific deadlines, and it's kind of you always look for the next challenge, unintentionally, just coming this way. So what's some of the things that, in your opinion, I would say 3 things, so we're not taking it too far, that you would say your top 3 things that would you say are your biggest takeaway from this year?
As far as achievements?
Anything. It can be achievements, it can be lessons, it can be something that you feel will just, what 2023 will be remembered for in the world of construction.
I think 2023 would be remembered as the year where we stepped out of our garage as an office.
All right.
Now that we have an office, I can admit the first few years of us being a company, our office was our garage.
Yeah.
And I am proud to say it, because same like us, Apple was like that, and Amazon, and every successful company. But eventually, they also had to spread the wings and leave the nest. and we finally leave the nest. So our office is not in your house or mine.
Yeah.
That is an achievement. A lesson learned from 2023 would be a communication.
Right.
Communication is the key on every level, on every form of layer. Communication is the key to a successful project, to a successful relationship, to a successful company. If we don't communicate with our workers, our project will be a failure. If you and I don't communicate as business partners and as brothers, this company will fail. So communication is
Can I touch on that? It literally happened yesterday. So we are today the 6th of December recording this podcast. Literally last night we had this conversation because I called Michael telling him
panicking.
Which I hardly ever panicking, but I'm like, I have this deadline and this and this and this happened. And Michael is like,
I'm a drama queen, and I thought, whoa.
Yeah. And then he's like, okay, let's solve it together right now. And literally going back to communication about when we started, it was just the two of us. We didn't have assistants, we didn't have runners, we didn't have project managers. This, like a plant that started from a seedling of just D and M, and we did it all together, sitting until the late hours of the motherfucking night every day. And it just literally brings tears to my eyes because we started from nothing. We were with our backs against the wall and we had to build it from nothing. And yesterday, despite really Michael running entire OC division, I run pretty much the entire LA division, and we really don't get to talk because we are so consumed with our own projects. And within 2 seconds of just 5-minute conversation, we solved all the problems. And that just reminded me of the core of how important. I even said to him, is like, we need to do this more often. We need to have this communication to solve the problem. And that's really, I 100% agree, because it's just, and we're at each other's throat sometimes as well because of lack of communication.
I will add to that. I am super grateful to everyone who joined our team and our company. And yes, hands down, every single one who would have joined us is a great asset to us. But another story, a year ago, we had a project in Burbank, one of the toughest cities to pull a permit from, nearly impossible. We had this lady working on pulling our permit for this complete remodel in the house. And it took weeks. And then, we looked at each other and said, you know what? Let's go to the city, you and I, and we got the permit within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
When you and I, same like we just spoke earlier, when we combine forces in Leeds, when we combine forces at the office, when we combine forces at the city, anything is just, we go immediately to that same mode of how we were when we just started, of us together against the world, and just we managed to complete every single thing. So it's always good that I'm grateful that we have people helping us with when it comes to admin work and office and project managing. But every once in a while, just for the fun, we need to promise each other that we need to do it ourselves. It also kind of puts us in check.
Yeah.
We don't need to get too comfortable. It's okay to spend some hours driving to the city.
I think in general, every business owner, and I just finished a great book about it, and for those of you who love books, Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, highly recommend. Shout out to David Goggins. But he says something so interesting. He achieved such great success in his book, but he says, the higher your success, the more you need reminders where you started. The more you need to sometimes just go back to the basics, start from ground level. If you started in a mail room, you need to go back to the mail room, because you need to just remind yourself where it all began. but maybe shift to the right, to the left to see what you can improve on as a person. So lately I've been thinking about literally joining our workers and working with them to be able to, for them to see, goddamn, our boss is working with us, and two is just to be able to just, even myself, the technology in the world of construction is ever evolving in a radical speed, from materials to like application, the codes, etc. So having the ability to go back to ground level to start is just, in my opinion, so important. I want to conclude today, and again, this was so great, and I know that we can do this for many, many more hours, and we should do this for sure more, but 2024 is around the corner.
I wanted to ask that. I have one question for you. We have 2024.
All right.
I want you to say something that kind of like a stepping stone, a goal, something that you would like us as a company or us as individuals to achieve in 2024, or kind of like, implement in the upcoming year, or let's plant a scene, plant a reality that is yet to exist, but we're already saying it will be there for 2024 for us as a company.
So remember how last week I had a conversation with the Kevin and Matan, the superstars from the agency, and for those of you again who haven't seen the episode, it's probably going to be linked somewhere over here, but one of the things that I talk to them is about what I call stepping stones. A milestones that as an agent, do you feel like there's certain ceiling, and then when you break that ceiling, you feel like, okay, I got it. It's kind of like when we got started, to sell a project for, let's say, $50,000 was like, oh my God, that's $50,000. Today, that's like every Tuesday, For me, the milestones now that we have developed homes, we have flipped homes, the next goal for me for us, I should say, that I want to challenge us is I want to develop or completely remodel a multifamily. So for 2024, I want to drive around the city and tell my daughter, your daddy built this building. Your daddy did this. Your uncle designed everything in that building. And that will be like a small signature that will be to me like, wow, another check mark in the list. But that's just, from just a general professional goal. On a personal goal, I want to find balance. A balance that is so hard to find.
And very much needed.
It's almost like half balance, half organization. And I'm not saying about like how we operate, even though I'm always striving to, it's kind of like, a samurai always sharpens his sword. No matter how sharp it is, he will continue to sharpen the sword, because the more you sharpen it, the more the blade is becoming, honed. And it's kind of one of those things. So the same thing for us. I want us to become this, even though we are right now, we have expanded exponentially, but I want us to be this German oiled machine that is just on almost autopilot. And that will enable us to dial back. Because at the end of the day, do I want to spend more time with my family? Absolutely yes. Do I want to spend more time with my brother? Absolutely yes. And for me, that is, at the end of the day, is priceless. Because there's nothing in this world, no possession in this world that will matter to me than memories. Because as far as I'm concerned, you can take everything away. You cannot take my memories. So that's as far as I'm concerned. But I'm really curious to know, for you, on the personal and professional, what do you have for us 2024?
Professional-wise, setting up to this today's podcast was not very much a lot of actions needed. You see 2 white tables, 12 hours, and probably more. I'm guessing that when you're gonna see the video, most of the background is white and empty. because we have just moved in.
Right.
So you are catching us at the early stages of our office. In a year from now, in December, we're gonna redo this broadcast, and I want this office to be a completely different look, with more people, more staff, more managers, more people on our team helping us, more workers, more projects, more satisfied and happy client. Because if you're gonna see a couch and TV and wallpaper and shelves and liquor bottles, and you're gonna see maybe not this white tables but something else, it means that we have succeeded in our goal in making more clients happy, bringing more dreams into reality. This is as far as kind of the professional. As far as personal, I want us to go back to our roots. And the personal side, like you said,
Vacation in Miami.
2024, it's time to go back to our roots, to spend time together, to put family first, to remember that if we don't put family first, none of this matters. So we need to go back into seeing each other, talking to each other, spending time with each other, with the rest of our siblings, with mom and dad.
And we finally, all of us in the same place.
Yes.
Because a lot of people don't know that for the longest time, it was just Michael and I in the US, and the rest of our family on the other side.
Spread out.
Yeah. So
And
finally,
in 2
we're
weeks, we're
together.
going skiing.
Yeah.
I will see how good you are. But this is kind of what I wish for us for 2024. More memories, family-wise, more achievements, professional-wise.
Thanks, brother. Love you, man. And it's a wrap.